Again, healing being something of a process, we want to, understand it correctly. As we're decreeing the word, we want to look for signs of good things happening. When I'm ministering to people, I ask them, Heather mentioned it kind of today, okay, what pain were you in when you came in? She said like an 8. Well, where are you at now? There's a process. We're looking for signs of good things happening. Something ought to be going on. Okay, you came in and you're in intense pain. Has the pain lessened at all? Well, come to think of it, it has. Healing, and this is the thing I'm wanting to get into. We want to work with people. They're not just a nameless, faceless person. They have dignity. They have value as people. And we want to ask them, what is God doing? And so often we have our minds so much on the big problem that we don't see the little seeds of what God's beginning to do. See, you could talk to Pastor Steve about this. I've heard him over the years. He talked about how revival started in little trinkets, little drops, little things, and how he grabbed them and they grew and multiplied and became a mighty river. I think he talked about it. Revival started in the small, like small tears, and it grew into a river. I've found in my own experience, that's how healing works. It works in very small ways. Why do we not see healing? The problem is we are seeing it and we don't recognize it. It's starting in small, organic ways that are almost imperceivable if you're not looking for them. And so the problem is most of the time people receiving healing don't see them. They've got their mind so much on the big problem. But you need to begin to say, is there a sign of anything happening? Has the pain lessened even a little bit? Even a little bit. And they would go, I've asked that question and they go, JD, I believe it has. Well, I tell them, I'm not powerful. I can't make the pain in your body go. This is clearly God. Let's thank God for the little sliver of help that's begun. Do you hear what I'm trying to say here? This little sliver of help that's begun. And it's funny how people, when they begin to see the little sliver, suddenly a real faith begins to be birthed in their hearts. And that little sliver will become something more, But so often, because we only see the big picture, and because we're looking for healing to be a miracle, if it isn't instantaneous, then it's nothing. And God is doing little things within our hearts and lives and our bodies, and we don't recognize it. And see, you as the prayer warriors, it's who I'm talking to you as today, you've got to help the people see the little things that are beginning. That's part of your job. You use the phrase faith helpers. That's part of what you're doing. You're helping them see the little ways that God is beginning to work. And you help them grow, and you help them see more. Jesus in Mark chapter 8, verse 23 and 25 through 25, it's a famous passage. It says this: Jesus took a blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. And when he had spit on the man's eyes and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, "Do you see anything?" I love this. He's engaging him. Spit in his hands, and he prayed, and then he asked. He's just not a nameless, faceless person running through a prayer line. And he looked up and he said, "I see people like trees walking around." So there was a process here begun. Jesus prayed. He'd gotten better, but it wasn't everywhere he wanted it to be. And so it says here, once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes, and then his eyes were open, his sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Now, if Jesus has to pray more than once, I think it's okay for us to pray more than once. Do you hear my point? Why is it that we're not satisfied if it isn't immediate and instantaneous? Why is it that we're not satisfied if we don't see the whole thing take place in a split second? Why? Where is that even scripturally? That's more Greek. That's more apocalyptic. That's not organic, communal. That's not covenantal according to the family of God. See, we want healing to get grounded back in the real biblical way of life. We're looking for it in the community, in the life, in ways that God begins to work within nature. God is not so at war with the natural order of things. Do you hear me? He doesn't hate the natural order of things so much. And healing, in my own experience, on some level moves within the natural order of things. and it speeds it up, strengthens it, makes it happen much faster than it should. And you're going, wow, that's my own experience. That's what I've seen. Healing and miracles are sometimes very different. And so it would help us not to confuse the two too narrowly, particularly as we try to minister. Now, again, we want to pray for miracles. We want to believe for them. The Word of God, certainly is clear in saying that these are things that we can expect and ask for. But healing and miracles have a very different way of working in my own experience. Do you remember a couple of the videos that we watched? A. Allen made mention, this is not going to be healing, this is going to be a miracle. Now, I may have passed right by you because we use the words interchangeably in the church. I don't get too much into this teaching area, but we're moving toward a practical point. We're looking for God to moving somewhat within the organic nature of the body or the human psyche, some way. We're looking for signs of God activity. Is this okay? Okay, and so instead of looking at the bigness of the problem, we start looking for the signs of God at work. And we help the people that we're ministering to see the signs of God at work, however small they might be. And when we do that, and they really begin to see God at work, many, many times, the healing grows, the impact continues, the lives are much more open to the ways of God.